So the next thing we are going to calculate, as I said, is the number of persons with debts higher than a certain amount. What does it mean? Simply, we'll calculate how many people have debts, let's say, for example, higher than $20,000. So first thing we want to do is write down the debt amount. And in our case, we'll say 20,000. All right. So right now we'll use the same technique that we used before. Well, it's gonna be a bit different. So we'll once again use the if function. So what we want to do is we will use the value of debts. So each person, so in this case, if the value of debts is greater than 20,000, we will ask Excel to return 1. In the other case, we'll ask Excel to return 0. So right now, the value of debts is greater than our amount X, or our amount which is $20,000. So Excel returned 1. So as you can see, in the majority of cases, well, it's greater. So let's say we want to change it here and put 100,000. So as you can see, every time that it's greater, it's gonna return 1. The only problem that we have here, because we had a mistake, is you have to lock your this cell. Why? Because what's happening in the first cell, if you write it this way, it's gonna work fine. But for the second cell, if you don't lock the cell A, well, in my case it's AT7, or the case with the cell with the 100,000, what's gonna happen is Excel will move it. So Excel will try to adapt to your formula and will almost simply move the cell lower. So what you want to do in your first function, simply log simply lock your cell with the 100,000, and then what you want to do is drag it down there. All right. So right now will make a bit more sense. Perfect. So the next thing we want to do is know how much people have debts that are greater than $100,000. So in this case, we'll simply do a sum, because we know that each time Excel returns 1, it means that this person has debts that are greater than 100,000. So we'll simply calculate the sum of all those numbers. And as you can see, well, it's in currency, simply put it in general. So as you can see, there is 405 people who has debts that are greater than $100,000. Well, we're talking about all the debts, so mortgage, everything. So the last question for our basic analysis, well, basic data extraction, will be the number of persons that have more than a certain percentage left on their mortgage. So how do we calculate this? It's the exact same thing as the debt calculation, but this time we'll calculate it in mortgage. Well, in percentage, sorry. So the first thing we need the percentage of everything. How do we find the percentage? So we simply write down here percentage left to pay, and the percentage left to pay is simply the value of the mortgage left divided by the value of the house. In this case, we will say that the value of the house never grows, and the value of the mortgage will always go low. So we will not take in count interests. We'll not take in count the value of the house that grows. So it's really, really basic. So what we will do, we'll simply click on equal and divide the mortgage left by the value of the house. So what do we receive? 12%. We put it in percentage. It's 13%. So as you can see, in the first case scenario, this person has 13% left to pay on his or her house. All right. So right now we have this. Now we want our number that we compare to. So let's say then, and here we will write down 30. All right, so each time that someone has less than 30%, we will ask Excel to write down 1. So in this case, we'll calculate everybody that has a mortgage left of less than 30%. So let's do it. We'll simply ask Excel if this value is less than 30%, return 1. In the other case, return 0. Once again, don't forget to lock your cell. When it's done, simply take everything and drag it down. So we did it in 2 steps. We could have wrote in everything in 1 step. It could have took us 1 calculation, but I preferred doing it in 2 steps. So we at first calculated the percentage left, then we did our if function to be able to calculate everything. All right, so right now we want to know the number of persons that have more than percent left on their mortgage. Have less. And in this case, once again, what we will do, we'll simply calculate the sum of everything. So we simply calculate the sum. And as you can see, guys, we have 142 persons who have less than 30% left on their mortgage. If we change the 30% and write, for example, 50%, well, of course, we'll have more. If we change the 50% and we want to find people who have less than 1% left, well, we only have 2 persons who have less than 1% left to pay for their mortgage. So as you can see, guys, we extracted all the basic data of everything here. So we used our database to extract all the basic data. You saw the way that I did it. So me personally, the way I work, I transform everything into 1 and 0s, and I simply extract everything from this. So once again, this is not as beautiful as it's supposed to be, since it's just, well, it's just after the calculations. In our next course, well, next class, we'll extract advanced data and everything. And after that, we'll put everything in a nice dashboard. We'll create a dashboard and we'll make everything presentable. So you will see how we did the evaluation of this database. So that's it for this course, guys, and see you all in our next class.